Okay, so I'm here with Dr. Pompa, which is actually my dad. And I got him to do this training. Not this one that you're watching, but one that we're going to link to. But I want you to pay attention just for a few minutes because I believe the whole world needs to hear this message. When I was a kid, I had all these different things going on. I thought it was normal, but it wasn't. And he kept telling me, just do this, just do this, just do this. And it was so contrary
You know how that goes.
to everything else. I mean, he had been sick whenever I was a baby, and he had gotten his life back. But he was saying that a lot of these things that he struggled with also would apply to me. And he was like, man, just do this. If you just do this, I know it'll help you. If you just do, and I was like, yeah, and I would just forget, because it wasn't of value to me.
True.
And
that is true.
It's amazing because I wish I had listened sooner.
Yeah. Well, he's the one who convinced me to put this whole training together, to do it. Look, I've helped people from all around the world virtually for many, many years, and trained doctors from all around the world, all of which from information that I got from my own battle. From pain to purpose is my mantra.
Right.
And fix the cell to get well.
Right.
That's what saved my life and yours.
For sure.
But, it takes, you were young, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but I can't even use that as an excuse, because trust me when I tell you, it's even a 30 or 40-year-old, it's sometimes hard to convince them, because they've tried a lot of things, it didn't work, so there's a level of paranoia.
Yeah.
Or things become so common, certain symptoms, their friends have them,
Sure.
that it becomes normal and they don't even realize there's a better life.
Yeah, whenever I was younger, he'd work with people with diabetes, with thyroid conditions, and I'd be like, Dad, what about this condition? He's like, oh yeah, I can help that. But I'm like, but everyone else says they can't. It's uncurable. Well, I'd be like, oh, my dad can fix everything. And eventually some red flags in my head start going up, right? How does this, but there's a reason for that there's actually one central reason why these conditions happen. So maybe you can speak more on this.
First of all, I have to say this, I don't fix anything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's part of the hope, I think, and the key is, no doctor fixes anything. You remove interference in the body, does the healing. When I was sick, intuitively, I knew there was a reason why.
Right.
My thyroid wasn't functioning, my adrenals were shot, my hormones were off, right? I mean, I knew there was a reason why. I mean, it got so bad that your mother thought, we need to put him on some type of drug, maybe even a psychotropic drug, because I was losing it. My unexplainable anger, irritability. I mean, I was someone, my heart gets broken to even think about, that I missed those key years of you kids growing up. And that's hard, man, but there's 7 of us in the family, 5 kids. All 7 of us in one way or another suffered from what I talk about in the training. And all 7 of us are now on this mission, because we suffered. But I lost those years, but here I am now serving with you all to bring what we learned, to the world. And, I guess that makes me feel better. But at a certain point, and I'll give it back to you, at a certain point, you started to actually listen. And I remember, at first I was hold on, let me back up. When you were younger, your mother and I were literally making you detox. I mean, no, you were just a kid. He couldn't detox, so we were literally giving him things to detox him, because you have to understand, Daniel was born every way possibly healthy in the sense that we did everything right.
Right.
He ended up with constipation, diarrhea, fussy child, screaming at night, same with his brother, and we realized he got his lead from his mom. My wife had severe lead toxicity. The number one source of lead is actually our moms.
Yeah.
It went into them, and when we realized that, I started the detox. Okay, and then we did. We fixed you. We got you to the point where all those things changed. However, when you became a teenager, a lot of that lead went into your bones, just like your mom.
Yeah.
And out it came when you were going through puberty, and all of a sudden, it started again.
Yeah.
And that's when I was trying to get you to do it. That didn't work, but then at a certain point, it clicked.
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah, I started to notice a big difference in my health. I don't know if you're touching on something else.
Yeah, no, that was it. When you started noticing, okay, I felt different doing this when I did it,
Yeah, it took a while. I mean, at first it was like, I just did it here and there, and I started to notice a little relief. But then it was like by 3 months, it was like, okay, whoa, I feel so much better. And then 6 months, it was even more. And I can say every year, it gets life gets more fuller and fuller. I have abundant energy, and yes, I'm young, which helps, but I was not
No, you were
No, I was
sick.
not trending toward that as a teenager.
I was trying to get him outside all the time. Even me, I couldn't understand. Then he got a scholarship at a ski academy, and he had this injury, and we sent him to the best, the doctors, to the point where they thought you were faking it at a certain point, which destroyed you and me. And then, it destroyed me because I missed it. I didn't realize lead was coming out of the bone again.
So all the best people in the industry are saying, like, and other people that, like, nothing, and then other people saying you're faking it. So I know this was more from an athletic standpoint, but I'm sure a lot of people watching this have had similar things where nobody really believes them and what's going on. And I had a lot of, like, on-set autoimmune things kind of building. And I was only in my earlier teenage years.
But by the way, unfortunately, that's becoming more common today. I had just made mention that our whole family suffered from this. So his brother got the lead. The younger brother got the least, but still got it. That's their 3 biological. Then we adopted Dylan and Olivia. So those are, they're just slightly older than Daniel. Their parents tragically died at age 7. Dylan was on the autism spectrum, sensory integration, Asperger's. So everything that I was just getting my life back, honestly. And then Dylan came into our world. So I'm telling you, it was just a whirlwind.
There's so many different things.
Dylan, if you met Dylan today, he works for this program.
So. I mean, it's not just heavy metals. There's so many different sources. In my case, it was, but there's other sources that affect really the cell.
Well, so that was Dylan's case. It was neurotoxic, but his source was different. His sister Olivia, she ended up with fibromyalgia and symptoms as a teenager from the very same exposures they had as a kid. All 7 of us. All 7 of us for different reasons. Different toxins. Mine was mercury. His was so. That's a good point.
What I really wanted him to touch on was how all these different conditions, such as diabetes, thyroid condition, different autoimmune conditions, whatever it may be, all go back to one issue, right? And that's how you talk about the cell.
Yeah, well, it is. If you fix the cell, you get well. More specifically, there's a specific way that I teach doctors and people alike. You have to detox the cell to ultimately get well.
So real quick, before we send you to the next step here, I want to talk about really there's one missing thing that I was going to talk about, binders and different. Because we're talking about heavy metals, we're talking about these different sources, but a lot of people
do it wrong.
So don't just take the information you're hearing here and go do the wrong thing, because that can also ruin your life.
Well, it's true. So many people, detox today is kind of in vogue. People realize their hormones, it's toxin related, etc. Most detoxes on the market are far too downstream to actually make a lasting difference.
So what does that mean, downstream?
Colon cleanses, liver cleanses, meaning that it's not to the cell. It's down here. And there's nothing that it's not wrong with those. I mean, those things can be useful.
It's like foot baths.
I did all those things. I didn't get my life back, right? I mean, you have to get to the cell to get well. So all of those things, right? And then IV chelation and all these, those are dangerous because they create redistribution. And that means that you're pulling some and then a lot of it is going back into the brain.
Help out in this business. So I must say, we see people go through, they're in different stages. So people we talk to, they're years in this journey, of trying to figure out what's going on. And maybe 10 years ago, they figured out they have heavy metal poisoning. But there's different evolutions of where they're at in this process of doing the wrong things. So don't make that mistake. I remember being young and being like, what are the chances my dad has the answers? But the people we see and they come through this program, it's crazy. They do everything, and it takes them a lot of pain to figure out that they're doing the wrong things.
True.
So save yourself the time. I'm being so serious, and learn everything you can from this webinar that we're going to link below. And you'll be blown away. Really look at it with an open heart and pray for understanding, because this is the answer.
Well, it changed our whole family. I have to believe it's going to change your life as well. Check it out.